welcome to this lovely space here that we have sought out for ourselves. As we just said, we are definitely not on the couch. We have left the couch, we have left our comfort zone, and we are here to discuss the conscious connected breath with a twist, which was to breathe into the heart space and to see what kind of connection we have to the breath spiritually. So let me first welcome, before we explain exactly what happened in the 28 days, the two colleagues, my other musketeers, three of us, Lynn-dee, who decided that she would bring the bear energy, and Kat, who decided she would bring the butterfly energy to the group, and I went for the lioness energy. And let's just see what Lynn-dee's got to say to introduce herself first of all.
Introduce myself, I would say, I don't know where to start, but to introduce myself, I would say it's lovely to be here and to have this experience with you guys. I've learned so much. I've learned how community and connection plays a massive role in this. So how I want to introduce myself.
Okay, so shall I go then, introducing myself? Well, I'm Kat, and yes, the butterfly energy to the group, although I felt I was a bit more like this bunny rabbit, excited, sort of hopping around. And yeah, it's just great, my first Facebook Live. So thank you, Christine, for setting it up and asking to be part of it. It's great.
Ah, I love the hopping. So does that mean what do I do as a lion?
Well, I didn't do a bed, so it's okay.
I'm sure you can now if you wanted to.
I love it. So yeah, and I was also supposed to introduce myself, I suppose. I'm just me. I'm just doing my best to bring me to the world, basically, and combine breath work with a spiritual journey of discovery and growth, whatever that brings. And it's very exciting, and I'm really grateful for you two for helping me stay on the path, because sometimes you do tend to fall off occasionally. So I think we should tell our viewers a little bit about what this breath was that we were doing. So like this conscious connected breath, breathing into the heart space, a sort of shallower breath than the normal full body inhale of the conscious connected breath that we learned up to this point where we started the 28-day challenge. And the purpose was to listen what this breath can bring you in terms of spiritual guidance for the next steps on your spiritual journey. That was my take on the purpose, to commit to calling in the sacred aspect of the breath. So how that happens is different for each person, but for about 10 minutes we breathed into the heart space there with sometimes with our hands here to feel how the breath was going in and out. And after that 10 minutes we usually probably went into an altered state, and we could let go of the intense focus on how we were doing the breath and let the body's wisdom take over. Would you agree with that take on things? You got anything to add there?
Yes, it takes us, I'm just going to add to that, it takes a while, the first 10 minutes before, to put the monkey mind off. So it's easing in, and what would be easy to the listeners or anybody listening is to connect to a sense of safety, because going without the cortical control being in charge, you must have a sense of safety, because we've been taught this, but a person that's doing this breath for the first time needs to just connect to what makes them feel safe. So I would add that to it.
Yeah. Kat, got anything?
Yeah, no, I thought it was a really interesting thing, because even at this stage, we started the course last February, I think, and at this stage of the course, even if someone had said to me, I want you to do half an hour conscious connected breathing every day for 28 days, I would have said, no way, too many other things that take up my time, have my yoga practice, meditation, just life, you know, things going on around about. But the way it was framed to us, that invitation to unite with the spirit of the breath was just really powerful for me. It really called to me. And it's been one of the easiest 28-day challenges I've ever set myself upon. Not saying every day was easy, definitely not. And maybe half an hour was a stretch some of the days. You know, I think my last day was only about 15 minutes, but I just felt that that's it, 15 minutes. I don't need any more. But it was just really, the way it was framed and the way it was set up to us as a challenge was just incredible and just really made me want to dive in.
Yeah. So we went into it with an open mind, I would say. Some of us had a bit more sort of time to commit to it than others in the whole big group, I mean. And some people, you know, did it every day. I know Lynn-dee did. I didn't do it every day. I sort of went for alternate days as a compromise, because I know there's a fine balance between doing something because you know that there's going to be wonderful results from the cumulative nature of the practice, but also you need to weigh that up against the you know, putting too much pressure on yourself and having difficulties and associating it with burden, and then going down a kind of a, oh no, it's all too much, and throwing the baby out with the bathwater kind of thing. So I decided for my own purposes to go with this for like alternate days sometimes, with the intention that I would do maybe shorter challenges and build up to a consecutive day practice in the following months. So yeah, no guilt associated.
But I love what you're saying there, because you made it your own. And a lot of trends that's out there, we can go into the whole story. I had to keep it to me, or I have to keep it. We put all the coulds and moods. And I love the fact, and yourself, Kath, you were trying. You're not trying. You made it. My body only requires 15, and I'm happy with that. So it's a, you were owning your space, whatever that was.
Oh, sorry, technical issue. Well, wait a minute.
Is this where we have to start singing a tune?
Sorry, guys, technical issue.
Okay, guys, just we'll sing a song.
Yeah.
What's all we sing? Do you know a song? What song do you know?
No, I think that would have real technical issues there if I started to sing.
If she says technical issues, does it mean we're supposed to do something?
Yeah, the deep concentration look of the face. Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
Somebody tell me how to do this.
So
Let's breathe it in. Ask the breath for the wisdom.
Okay. I clicked a button and I don't know which button I clicked. Just give me a second here.
It still says live on Facebook.
Yes, it still says live, and Cass Charles is just saying hold music.
Okay, I think I solved the problem.
So I think we're still, I don't know what's happening at your end, but I think we're still good.
Yeah, we're all good. So you can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Good. So what I did was I just weirdly clicked a button that gave me volume on the Facebook Live that I'm also watching, which I didn't mean to do. So beg your pardon, apologies for that. I will not touch any more buttons. So yeah, let's just return to where we were, which I think I can remember where it was. I was going to talk about how we set up the breath work, and there was some advice from Shakti Tracy, our teacher, and she told us that we would be best off doing 3 things, and I call them the 3 eyes of breath work. One of them is the in-service element, which Shakti did mention she called consecration, but I didn't. And one of them was the invocation element, which was invoking a connection. And the third one was the intention setting. So that would be like, what do you want? Clarity on what purpose are you choosing? What wisdom do you seek, and so on. So those three elements, I mean, I had to really think about that because I wasn't really used to some of these terms, and it took me a while to do it. But starting out with the in-service part, I interpreted that as just making the space quite sacred, knowing that it wasn't like all about me, making it in service, offering the breath work up to, it could be like to humankind, the planet, spirit. I don't know what you did. Can you tell me something about what you did in terms of how you set up the space before you even began breathing?
Yep. Well, I always I lit my world peace flame candle. So it's getting a bit. I just set up my world peace flame candle, and so just tried to set up sort of a nice environment for it, and tried to keep my space quite clean and tidy, which for me, I'm not a tidy person, so that was quite hard work.
Oh.
But yeah, and then I sort of get a bit mixed up with all the different pieces, but I'm very much believe in sort of the divine love of the universe. And so I asked to be the spirit of the breath to connect me to the divine love of the universe. And I've got a real thing about confidence. I don't like the word confidence, and that I think I was quite a precocious child. And I think I probably got into trouble for being bossy a lot when I was younger. And I struggle anytime to sort of put my words forward or to put my point of view across. And so I've come across Hara in the last couple of years. And so I was asking for a lot of strength in Hara. So it's like, yes, we're doing the heart space breathing up here, but asking to sort of connect it down into the Hara. So that's what I was doing. And I kept the same sort of spiel at the start, spent the first couple of minutes saying my spiel out loud, asking for the spirit of the breath to connect to the divine love of the universe. And it was fascinating because I'd sort of meditated on what I wanted to say. And then 2 weeks in, what is it I'm actually asking for here? And I spent about a week thinking, what is it? And then the last week, it really clarified what I was asking for. So the whole having 28 days to have one invocation or whatever you want to call it was just absolutely fascinating process for me.
Thanks. I just jump in there and just say that for me, the idea of this in service and then the idea of the invocation sort of merged as one. I didn't see it as separate. So the idea of this sort of in-service part, which Shakti called the consecration part, where you make the space sacred and you get into the state that you want to be in of offering it up and not being about you and trusting the journey and so on, just merges into the invocation part. To me, it's all one and the same. So my invocation would be very different from your invocation. You know, because you're coming to the breathwork with different life experience, different integration of your stories, different practices, different benefits that you're seeking as well, which will all come into the invocation. So for me, because I'm training in trance mediumship for healing, then my invocation was quite associated with like what I feel is my purpose at the moment to fulfill my bigger purpose, bigger than the breath work. The breath work fits for me into the purpose rather than the other way around. So I've just put in the chat a little bit, you know, what I said at the beginning of being in service to spirit, because I would really like to be guided and trust that guidance and not let my left brain come in, not let that ego side come in, which is a huge long-term process really for me. So over to you, Lynn-dee, on the invocation and the in-service, the making the space.
So to me, I've done this, not just the 28 days, but before then I had been breathing like for a year, non-stop or every day for like a conscious connected way. And it was my connection to source and to get a lot of stuff in my life. So I was so excited when we had this challenge again, because we started reading a lot now about the breath, and there's still more studies and stuff that's not even out yet. So when I started that, it made me hesitate. What the hell am I doing? So, and when that came back, this challenge came back, it was to me trusting yourself again and not just going everything that's out there and hesitating, and that the breath has the wisdom at every given moment. But it's us, or to me, it was not trusting that. It somehow needs to be in a paper book answer. So to me, I was putting myself aside in service, and just getting a download, if you had to use that word. So it's a communication. It was a communication, and it was actually a laughter in between. So I would get answers like, yes, more, create. Why are you stopping? Create. And I was like, okay, this is too much. I can't do this anymore. And it's like, no, create. So I was having like a fun conversation with whoever you confirm it with. But to me, it was more, and I picked up the word from you, Christine. It's a more trusting, and not trying to solve out the riddle and making a puzzle, but just taking one piece of the puzzle, and then the puzzle will sort out itself. So that was my experience.
I like the puzzle part. I love it. Yes. And to just know that the pieces of the puzzle will form a picture eventually, but you can't see the picture when you first start out, can you? You just get the corner pieces in. So maybe we think of these three eyes as our corner pieces, and the last piece would be I myself actually turning up every day. And there we go. So
yeah, it's beautiful, both mentioning the word trust there as well, and that was very strong in both of what you had to say, and that was so true. Yeah, trust is like the baseboard of the corner jigsaw pieces, perhaps.
Mm-hmm. And then the third part, which was the intention setting, I in the general over sort of umbrella part of the invocation, there has to be kind of a specific part for me, that what am I actually focusing on, which might change from week to week within the 28-day challenge. So for me, I had an intention on in terms of actually, can I invite spirit to use my breath to speak? Because up to now in my trance mediumship, I am silent. I have 3 guides that come through. One of them is very much for healing. None of them speak. One of them laughs his head off and has a jolly good time. The other one is very serious and very commanding, and the other one is doing healing, but no speaking really. So my specific intention, my specific purpose within that was inviting spirit to use my breath to speak. And actually, that might seem a bit woo-woo for some people, but it worked very well for me. I didn't get actual words, but I did get some vocalizations, so it was quite fascinating. So I'd be really interested to know if you had any like really honed in specific intentions that you set as the third eye.
Would you like to go first, Kat?
Okay. I don't think I did really. I think it varied every day depending on what was coming up. And it's so interesting that you're saying about having the breath to speak. I think I'm at a stage I need the breath to listen very much. And I very much a monkey mind. And the first 2 weeks, it really was. It was kind of hard that I'd be into this sort of the trance kind of state. And then thoughts about work could pop into my mind, or thoughts about this and thoughts about that. And I hadn't appreciated just how busy my mind was. And I think for me, it was that just space, the space to listen and the space to let go. That was very strong for me.
Mm.
To me, it was also, I didn't have a specific intention. I didn't set that beforehand. But to me, it was, there is a certain part of me craving that connection and wanting that connection. So it was for me just pure delight to go into that. Even after the 28 days, I told you guys, I feel lost. I don't know how to breathe anymore. What am I supposed to do? So I was like, and it's funny how quickly our minds can set a habit, right? At the first weeks, it's like hesitating it and telling you not to do it. But once you get used to it, it's like, okay, that was easy. Why did I complain? And now it's like, we're now out of the 28 days, and I'm like, but I want it again.
Yeah. I had to, the day 29, I had to practice, and I had to go upstairs and lie down, and I just had, if I didn't have that time, I think I was going to scream, or I don't know, I would have exploded. I
know, right?
Yeah.
Totally.
Weird.
I had the same experience.
So these experiences that we had, we should make the point that, if we were different people, we'd have different experiences, and we don't want to seek specific experiences. We want to have an open mind, just to be in the flow, and then that brings more, doesn't it, really? But going on to like how it actually looked like for you doing this breath work, did you do it exactly as instructed? Did you do it silently without music? Did you set up any music beforehand, drumming or anything, to get into the flow? What did it look like for you?
I had no music for the first week or so, week and a half. And then after that, I felt, okay, bring in something. So but mostly there was no music, but I trusted the moment and what was needed to take me even deeper.
Oh, I got up, I lit my candle, I sort of staggered out of bed and staggered to the next room. And so it was sort of the habit of doing it in the morning, and it was hard if I didn't do it in the morning. It was harder to come back to it during the day. And most of the time I didn't want music. I was quite happy not to have it. There was once or twice where I thought, oh, I could have done some music today. And I started off in my heart, maybe like 5 minutes up at the heart breathing, and then I sort of whole body breathing took over. I just preferred that. With odd moments of feeling as if I wasn't breathing, and then sort of more moments of frantic heart. You guys know what it's like in a conscious connected breathwork session, that it never stays the same for the half hour. Mm-hmm. And I didn't worry that it wasn't up in the heart. I was wanting to do what my body wanted to do.
Yeah, that was in the instructions, wasn't it? After like the first sort of bit, when you've got your sort of state, when that's happened, really, because you kind of get a kind of a specific set of reactions, probably. I don't know what they are for you, but then the idea was, Shakti advised, that you can then just let it go and be in the wisdom of the body. Yeah. So anything else to be said on how you actually did the process, Lynn-dee? Anything that you want to tell us about how it looked for you?
Also, I at first I breathed in the heart, and it was quite tricky to get my mind not to breathe from my stomach. So, but eventually I got it right. And then what after that happened is I got I had it was like cramping in my rib cage. It was like sore, and I'm not sure what that was. And then I allowed a belly breath after that, and that cleared it up. So I'm not sure, maybe it was something, I have no idea. But I just went with what I felt was right in that moment.
Yeah, well, for me, I found it really difficult to get into this at the beginning in the first week. So I experimented quite a lot. And what I ended up with was using drumming recordings for about 10 minutes before I started, to really get me in a good state before breathing. That really worked very well for me. I also experimented with having a drumming beat throughout the breath work as well, just as a kind of reminder. That worked less well. And then I experimented with using a Reiki timer to give me some intervals where it would just bring in a little flute reminder for a few seconds at like 10-minute intervals, just to bring me back to the practice if I kind of wandered off and wasn't doing it anymore and hadn't realized that I wasn't doing it anymore. So that was a Reiki timer from Pamela Miles, actually. That worked quite well for me because you can have it silent the rest of the time. So yeah, it was different on different days. The practice sort of evolved for me as time went on.
Did either of you use the cacao to start with? Did you ever try using that?
No, I ordered some, but I haven't done it yet.
I found some in my cupboard that's 2 years out of date, so not sure whether to try or not.
Try, see what happens. I think it's good to be curious and playful with these things, isn't it? There's no right or wrong way. That's what we're trying to say, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, totally.
And I used Shakti's recording a couple of times, and that was interesting because she sort of started off slower than I was, and having the affirmations come through was interesting, and the focus on the vision sort of vision aspect, and that was interesting. Yeah, enjoyed that too. And the vocal toning at the end, well, that was really good. Got a lot out of that.
Yeah, I loved that. Have you done vocal toning without the guidance of Shakti?
I've never done vocal toning before, so it's a whole new world to explore, something new to explore.
And did you do any journaling after the practice?
Yeah, it's just, I don't even know if the words make any sense, some of them, but yeah, it was nice to sort of remind me of a few things, and I'm sure I'll look back in a couple of weeks and go, oh yeah, just little reminders and little prompts. Yeah.
And what did you do after the practice, Lynn-dee?
I didn't do the journaling thing. It's not my thing. But I just keep quiet, and then I normally take a minute or so to integrate what has happened. But normally as well, I'm so inspired in that moment. I just don't want to breathe anymore. I just want to do what Spirit asked me to do. So I'm like, okay, hang on. Let's just give a moment of gratitude, before I carry on. So, sometimes I have to contain myself. Do not just immediately take action. I can do that a lot.
So
without integrating anything, just carry on. Carry on. Sorry, the idea again.
So I just thought I'd mention the reference during the training to Leonard Orr's practice, which was also heart breathing, which was also oh gosh, now I've forgotten what I was going to say. He didn't breathe so much into the heart with this intention that we had. It was a little bit different. So it might be worth looking into some different styles of breath work now that we've done these few ones, maybe like the holotropic breath work where you draw mandalas afterwards and so on. Is there anything that you've got planned as your next steps for exploration of different kinds of breath work after this? Or are you going to carry on with this one?
I'm very boring. I like this one. But I did this Sufa breathing for a couple of months or in between. And because that's different, because my mind is not used to adding stuff like that, this one is so used to. But when I did the Sufa breathing, I was like, it was brought up a lot of emotion. So it's good to add other sequence to it because we can very go into habit. Yeah. And even in conscious connected breath, you like your mind figures out this is going to happen now. This is, it thinks it's very clever, but it doesn't really know what's going to happen. But I need to spice it up. Out of the Coach Potato style, I would just on this one, spice it up. So,
all right. So, how are you going to spice it up? We want to know.
Okay, so I'll spice it up with adding movement and sounding to it.
Okay. All right then. Kat, how are you going to spice it up? If you are going to spice it up, if you're even going to continue, tell us what your plans are.
Definitely going to continue, and I'm just this idea of this whole invocation kind of idea of setting out attention and vision. I'm going to carry on with that. Bit of the vocal toning, carry on with that. And yeah, the movement's interesting actually, because some mornings it was like up into a wheel-like pose and my shoulder would be rearranging. So I think I'm already just, I like to do that already, movement in the practice. And I'm also training with, well, I've signed up for the Buteyko method training, but I have to actually do that and practice some of the bits there. But that doesn't have the spiritual dimension to it, this whole sort of otherworldly thing, you know, it's right. These are some exercises for this, try this. So I need to get my head around that as well.
Yeah,
and very exciting about the mentorship carrying on next year with the breathing space as well. So that's
yes,
that.
Yes, so we are all very excited about that. So we'll be training now as mentors to other people who are starting out with breathing space. And if you want to check out makesomebreathingspace.com, head over there and have a look at what's going on. Maybe you can put that in the chat for me. So we are going to do this training as mentors, and I think that carrying on with this challenge, this particular type of breath, it will really help us to be present for whoever we do end up mentoring further down the line, and maybe balancing that up with some other breathwork techniques. But I think what I'd like to do really is breathe more in community. So we've done this practice all by ourselves, and I think there might be an opportunity for making a little bit of a group breathwork every now and again, not being rigid about it, but when opportunity arises, because I think different things happen when you breathe in community, don't they?
Definitely, even online. I don't know how it works, but even online, definitely does.
So if you've got a space already set up, let us know about it right now. I've got a space set up. It's called the Breathwork Healing Community. Well, it's called the Breathwork Healing Catalyst Community, actually, but the Breathwork Healing Community is my page. And that is my graduation project for the training that we've been doing as breathwork facilitators, which I will now bring this type of breathwork to that community as well. So we meet for online breathworks on a Friday evening, once or twice a month, and locally in halls as well for in-person group breathworks. So that's where I'm going to be like stepping up, and that's probably where I will set my intentions for this spiritual breathwork to the heart. To actually, one of my specific intentions is it is safe to bring my work to the world, because sometimes we find fears coming up around rejection or criticism or not being good enough. So I think that's where I'll head with this particular breath work, is letting it guide me to bring my work, my special gifts, what I've got to bring to my special tribe out. Because Claire, one of the other mentors on our training, she gave me some good advice, and she said your task is also to let go of the people who are not going to resonate with you, who need somebody else, as well as attract the people who will benefit from working with you and teach you something. So I like the idea of also setting the intention to let go of people who need a different vibe, almost different person, different teacher, different way, and not let that worry me at all. And of course, bring a sense of curiosity and playfulness and conviction, should come from that too, hopefully in the end, as a result, as a benefit.
Beautiful. Nice words.
Okay.
Sounds a lovely community that you've got there, going there on your Fridays. Sounds.
Yeah. So far,
Exciting.
yeah, you have to get working hard on the nitty-gritty of booking the actual halls and all that work of advertising and so on, which sometimes is you do procrastinate sometimes about that. But if you can get over that little initial procrastination, it all becomes great fun. And the main thing in life is to enjoy our years on this earth, really, and connect with people and do more of what makes you happy, I think. Lynn-dee, have you got any final words before we leave our
no
session?
Just keep it real.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. Kat?
Yeah, just like a special shout out to my breath bubble of Maya Scott Mitchell and Susie Anthura as well, because I had them as my accountability buddies and I jumped on with you guys as my accountability buddies, and I just thought this was just such a great challenge and I just wanted to share it with the world. So special shout out to my mentor group as well, who've been just ace support this last year.
Yeah, I'd like to second that, because I've really benefited. And I think that is one of the wonderful things about the training that we've done with Breathing Space, because I think that is its unique selling point, as it is totally around support. It's not just a course and go away and you're done. And I take that in my work as well, always have done. For me, it's a vocation. It's not about just like, okay, here's a course, off you go. It's a real community feeling that we've benefited from. So yeah, Claire and Rebecca and Sharon, thank you very much in my mental huddle too. Okay. So have we said all that needs to be said? Would we like to just take a deep breath together and say thank you as well to anybody who's watching on the replay? Thanks very much to you guys. All right. Go well, my friends.
Thanks for setting up, Christine. Thank you.
Thanks for being here, everybody, and have a wonderful breathwork journey for the rest of your lives.